Hi, I'm Marianne Binetti, and this is my homemade compost. It's great stuff. You can see that there's big chunks in it. That's totally normal, and that's totally okay when you make your own compost. You can just pick out any random chunks of bark or rocks, and if you don't like them on your garden bed. But what I want to talk to you today about my way of fertilizing with my homegrown compost and Osmocote. The reason is because we want clean water. We actually live on a well, and so I don't want to put a lot of manure on my beds because that's too much nitrogen. It gets into the groundwater and ruins the quality of our water that we're drinking. Instead, slow release plant food like Osmocote isn't going to get into our drinking water. So a combination of compost and Osmocote is what I'm going to use here. And if you saw my earlier videos where I talked about my shade flower garden, you'll see this patch of my shade garden. I divided up some astilbe and primroses, and now that they're all divided and watered in, I'm ready to add the Osmocote fertilizer and the compost on top of the Osmocote. But here's a tip. I like to buy the Osmocote in the bags. It's less expensive this way, but it's more difficult to handle to get the right amount onto the garden. So I saved the one shaker bottle, and what you may not know is these Osmocote shaker bottles, you can pop off the lid, which is what I like to do. The plastic lid comes right off, and then I'm going to set this into my bucket of compost in case I spill the Osmocote. Valuable stuff, I want to spill it into the compost so I can reuse it. And then I just transfer the Osmocote from the big bags into the shaker bottle. Now, the way to determine how much you need to use is you read the directions on the label, and it says one of these capfuls, or 3 tablespoons. Okay, that's 1 capful for 4 feet of garden bed. So you can sprinkle this area here that I just weeded and cleaned out. It's about 4 feet, dark area. So if I spread this evenly, now what I want you to do when you do this is eyeball what it looks like, how far apart the granules are. So then you will be able to remember this so that next time, instead of having to measure out the capful, you will just be able to use the shaker holes and shake the Osmocote so that it looks the same. There's a little bit of space between each granule. Now, when you read the instructions on the slow release fertilizer, it says to work it into the top, ½ inch or so of soil. That's because you don't want the Osmocote to be exposed to the full sun, because heat is what activates it and helps the nutrients to be released. But I want everything to be released slowly. Osmocote will last for 6 months. I won't have to fertilize again. So instead, I'm going to take my homegrown compost here and spread it, just layer it right on top of the Osmocote granules. So I'm covering up the granules. They're going to release the nutrients very, very slowly. And these astilbe that I divided up, they now have been fertilized, mulched, and they're perennials in my shade bed. Are going to give me many more years of summer color. This has been Marianne Binetti with Easy Answers for Great Gardens.
If you enjoyed these gardening tips, subscribe to our channel so you can get updates on new videos and stay in the know about all things gardening. Click the red subscribe button below. See the description below for more information about how to connect with us on PlantersPlace.com, Facebook, and Instagram.